Good evening. This is Maestro with the Dawn of War 2 Retribution Elite Modcast. Today, we have a 2v2 on Medean Jungle Mines, and our first player, we've got a little bit of a throwback for some of these names, at least to me, because I haven't seen them since coming back. It's going to be Lucidic, playing as the Force Commander. Tanky, disruptive melee hero, who can knock things down with Battlecry and buff things with Battlecry. His teammate is going to be Lindonin playing as the Space Marine Apothecary. This is a healing commander, has a targeted heal, can also have area of effect, heals over time. On the other team, we're going to have Mostafa007 playing as Sindri, Trollface, Chaos Sorcerer. This is going to be a spellcasting and battlefield manipulation hero. And finally, we are going to have Kickin, who is going to be playing as the Techmarine, a Space Marine ranged hero with a gun for every occasion, and he can also support vehicles with repairs. Alright then, so welcome to this Power Armor party. We're going to have an actual, just a usual cast, where it's just a single game, as opposed to a lot of those long faction wars that have been coming out. I definitely know some people like those long faction wars, but it's also nice just to have a smaller, more easily digestible single game. So, we are going to have the Force Commander trying to capture this requisition point. Scouts seem to be out of position, probably seeing if they can find a better retreat path. Ooh, Doomblast on the Heretics miss, and now they're deciding to back off. That was actually kind of well played by Lucidic. Or actually, rather, it was more the Heretics who were caught in a strange position, and they were seeing if they can catch up with the Scouts, but they failed to. Meanwhile, we are going to have the Chaos Sorcerer go for the natural victory point for the red team. Somehow it was Lucidic who had actually managed to take the natural victory point. However he managed that. I missed it, but the Chaos Space Marines will take back the requisition point. But I wonder, okay, he's going to back off because the Force Commander is approaching, knows that he will likely just, although it would be, they would inevitably lose the fight and possibly bleed in the process. Realistically speaking, they should not bleed just from a level 1 Force Commander with his starting weapon, but if they tried to commit to capturing the requisition point, they would. And Space Marines, or Chaos Space Marines rather, instead trying to take the more favorable fight of going after the Scouts, but now the Force Commander will start chasing them down, but he is going to damage them very slowly. So once again, we're seeing Mostafa really just push for those Scouts, and the Scouts will eventually they have to retreat, but it's luckily for is it Lucidic? Yeah, luckily for Lucidic, he does get out of there without losing a single model. Doom Bolts go in as well, but they do take quite a bit of health off of those Tactical Marines, about a third, but no model loss once again. Meanwhile, seems like even more is happening over here. Space Marines for Lindonin, Tactical Marines, in fact, will have to retreat under the pressure of those Assault Marines from Kickin. Kickin now in a position where he could start potentially making a power push, especially with the combination of the upgrades that he has, the shotguns on these Scouts. Assault Marines not being an upgrade, but are just a squad that are so threatening that, we're going to see grenade attempt. Grenade attempt hits nothing. Well played by Kickin with those reactions. Going to, yes, and there, so it very much is going to be a power push, kind of off of that winning engagement, having those Tactical Marines out early. A little bit of a weak start from Lindonin, in fact, although he does have the Assault Marines now, but getting them slower is what is enabling this power bash from Kickin. Now, it looks like with the Assault Marines coming out, the power bash is going to be pretty mitigated. I wonder if Kickin is going to try to commit to taking out this one last power node. He won't be able to have the Tactical Marines do it unless he's able to keep them in this engagement. So instead, we're seeing the Assault Marines. I was going to say it would have to be the Assault Marines to finish off the generator, but he tried to commit to taking out the Apothecary. And all things considered, despite Lindonin being quite a bit behind in terms of his Assault Marine timing compared to Kickin, that was not a very successful power bash. He only managed to kill the node, and this last generator was not even killed. Meanwhile, it looks like, wow, looks like we had quite a few deaths over here in terms of some squads. That looks like an Assault Marine model, so an Assault Marine model looks like was lost for Kickin at some point. No, just kidding. I meant to say for Lucidic. Meanwhile, I think the responsive power bash by by Lindonin at this point actually has the potential to be a lot more successful. Takes down a node, takes down a generator. He's going to start going for that other generator. Inevitably, Assault Marines will jump in, and we also have the flanking shotgun scouts as well for the shotgun blast and suppression. It's actually the Apothecary who's in trouble, but so are the scouts from Kickin. 2 models going to go down on those scouts because they are being melted alive by the Tactical Marines. Got a slightly unfortunate retreat path, but managed to not lose another model. I think attack model did go down. Yes, it did. Meanwhile, attack model from Kickin not going down yet. Okay, finally does go down. Yeah, I mean, they were just so low. Eventually, it had to happen. And if anything, I'm just surprised he kept them in there so long. Another attack model goes down. I don't know if it was worth it to try to keep this squad of Tactical Marines. Now it's not even a squad. Now it's just a Tactical Marine. I mean, I guess he's going to go to try to push the power with this. I mean, he should be able to finish off that power generator that wasn't finished off before, but he's not going to be able to keep them in there very long. He needs to be extremely careful if Assault Marines try to jump in. Meanwhile, over here, we are going to see Sword of Flame on that Sorcerer. I can tell because we had the Coruscating Flame active on the Heretics, but the Heretics now down to just the Aspiring Champion. And now it's the Sorcerer by himself. Lucidic not happy about something, and I'm not quite sure what. Oh, we've definitely lost his scouts somewhere. Wow, lost the Force Commander in base because he was, well, of course it's not his base. Ooh, that's probably like just a micro accident where he just lost track of a unit. And this is now looking a little bit crazy for Lindonin. That was a different person. Dueling shotgun scouts playing a game of chicken here, seeing who's going to die first or who's going to retreat first. Eventually they both retreat. Models lost on both squads, and the Assault Marines from Kickin are here by themselves. This is not good. Okay, he wants to commit to this fight. Is it going to come down soon enough, though? Oh, no, this is going to be so close. And it doesn't, oh my god. That was super sad for Kickin. So he was going for throwing down the drop pod to have the reinforcements, and the reinforcements just did not come soon enough. I mean, from the moment that happened, it looks like a risky play. Hard commitment and big fail on it. So, Force Commander going to come in here, already upgrading to the Thunderhammer. He's in Tier 2. Heretics are in here. It looks like they're going for mainly the suppression, and that's just going to be an instant retreat before they even got knocked down. Force Commander now also has that Thunderhammer. Going for those Noise Marines, chunking them, because this Thunderhammer, although 62.5 DPS, is not a especially high value as far as Commander melee weapons are concerned. It still ends up being it still ends up seeming like a lot of damage because it's a lot of damage per swing. Since he swings that hammer a little bit slowly, you will just see chunks taken out of a unit's hit points whenever the commander hits with that, whenever the Force Commander hits with it, that is. Techmarine is able to get out of there just barely, but it does look like quite a power bash happened here with a full power bash as well as the node even taken for the blue team. So, oh man, Sorcerer is way overwhelmed here. He's not going to be able to stay here much longer, and he does use the Vestments of the Warp, or strictly speaking, it's just the Warp ability to teleport out of there safely. If he had not teleported out of there, he actually could have risked dying there. Especially, we are going to see sergeants on both of these squads, although what Lucidic really needs is he really needs more units. Because he lost his scout, never actually got a tier 2 unit, and we actually saw a pretty light tier 1s from all of these players. Yeah, I was going to say, where's that Doom Blast suppression? I mean, that Doom Blast suppression mostly just covers the retreat. Then Heretics lose 3 models there. Really only 2 were killed because 1 was taken out from the Doom Blast. Tactical Marine's going to decide that they really can't just stay in that engagement much longer. Techmarine choosing not to stay either. He doesn't want to lose health unnecessarily and then find himself having staggered retreats where he retreats his tax, then the Techmarine needs to start to retreat later, and then he'll find himself unable to have like a full army out on the field at any given time if he continues to stagger his retreats. But we are going to see a Dreadnought. So that Dreadnought, I'm wondering if we'll see the Power Fist switch. Although we might not see a Power Fist if this Force Commander is dead. I think he does. He doesn't go. Okay, he does. I was gonna say, I see why he was why he wanted to turn the Dreadnought away, because if anything, I mean, the interrupting the Power Bash probably is a lot more impactful than taking out the Force Commander, because that Force Commander can be revived, although it is a difficult position to revive him. So it is good that he was actually able to get that kill. Not going to be an easy revive for, that would be for Lindonin, who would have to do the revive, and we are going to see this Dreadnought upgraded to the Mark of Khorne. Now, interesting to see that. Of course, the Force Commander, if he is revived, is often a very strong answer to Walkers, because he can get that Power Fist. But we already see that Lucidic has committed to the Thunderhammer. Now, of course, being a commander, he can switch weapons, but there's also just the economic concerns of you already put down the resources for that Thunderhammer. Power Fist is even more expensive, and usually you want to focus on getting out some kind of new unit. But anyway, here's also another answer. We're going to see a Dreadnought with, sorry, we're going to see a Lascannon Devastator. Lascannon Devastator will be pulled out with the Sigil of the Rift War Gear, which grants the Warp Rift ability. But he's actually even able to just walk the Devastators out of there, and if anything, this Dreadnought is now in a little bit of trouble. It looks like it will be able to scare off the Devastators, might even straight up kill the Devastators. If we can get one more hit in, it might not even need the melee swing. It does not finish off the Devastators. That's pretty important for Lucidic. Not like Devastators are incredibly strong. Oh, he's going, he wants to finish the Devastator. He doesn't even get it, though. So yeah, that was a little risky. I mean, it is interesting to see that Mark of Khorne when, again, we could potentially have the Power Fist. But one of the things that he could be thinking of is the idea of maybe just trying to improve the survivability of the Chaos Dreadnought, since obviously it does just straight up get a little bit more health, and it also gets damage resistance when you activate the Blood Rage. So if you are able to activate Blood Rage, like if you see a Force Commander winding up with Flesh over Steel, if you activate Blood Rage right before it actually connects, you would have damage resistance, significant damage resistance for that time that it would be disabled, which can go a long way to keeping it alive. Anyway, Devastator Marine's going to come out only with 2 of their models and not even full health on both models. Interesting to see that, considering the Devastator Marine squad was nearly wiped when it had full hit points. So which means he was not on top of his micro the first time. Now he's got to be really, really on top of his micro if that Devastator Marine squad is put under any further threat. Missile Tack, as long as the Chaos Dreadnought is being very passive and not engaging, Missile Tack is going to take up its time by just killing the power generators. So Teleporter, sorry, Sorcerer will teleport into the Tactical Marines, but that does mean Warp is briefly on cooldown. I would think more if he wants, okay, he wants to use Sigil of the Rift on them, but he doesn't have much in terms of follow-up. In fact, he even has it in a situation where the Sorcerer needs to retreat. He's going to move in the Noise Marines. That will shut down the Devastating Marine squad. The Devastators are so low that it even threatens their retreat. So I think I've been concentrating a lot on that side of the map. Well, quite a few War Gear upgrades from our Techmarine, going for a melee Techmarine with the Axe of the Mechanicum. But Scouts are under attack here, so I do want to keep on seeing what's happening. Melt-A-Bomb on the Dreadnought, but it does have Blood Rage active again, making it a bit more tanky because it has that damage resistance for as long as Blood Rage is active. Anyway, so the Force Commander is in here, and he is trying to hammer apart that Sorcerer, and that Sorcerer cannot go head-to-head with the Sorcerer in melee, but he is able to just not die there. Ooh, meanwhile, it's the Dreadnought from Lindonin that's in a huge amount of trouble. Does it get out of there alive? No, it does not. Vengeance rounds from the Stern Guard veterans going to be enough to finish it off, even though this Dreadnought was also slow. Meanwhile, Heretics will finish bashing the node. At this point, yeah, it's just an instant retreat. Because if they stay in there any longer, they will just bleed models. And he might actually bleed 0 models with that instant retreat. Force Commander now in a huge amount of trouble, and he does go down because he got knocked down by the Dreadnought. I mean, so we're seeing Lucidic again. Even though he has the resources, he could switch to the Power Fist if he really wanted to. And yet it seemed like he didn't, even though that means the Force Commander will be a lot less effective against the Dreadnought. And again, probably just what he's thinking there is that he's already spent the resources on a weapon upgrade for the Force Commander. So he's probably thinking more in terms of either trying to get other units or seeing if he can eventually tech to tier 3. Although that's not looking like it's going to be the case for the blue team, at least not anytime soon. They've lost a lot of their power. They don't have a very strong power income. Whereas we see both red team players going to tier 3, so it's looking pretty good for our red team players with a pretty significant lead in VPs. They've got the economic advantage. So they really just need to see if they can push this to their advantage. What they don't have to their advantage, though, are the victory points. Or rather, the actual victory points on the map. 2-to-1 cap. We are going to see, I think that's a Melt-A-Bomb go down on, this is going to be Kickin's Dreadnought. And this Dreadnought now... Honestly, it should not die here. It really shouldn't. Long-range shots from the Devastator Marine Squad. It's not out of the range of the Devastator Marine Squad. They're going to call me a liar, and they're going to finish off this Dreadnought. I think it's going to happen. It's close, but actually, no. They called me a liar a second time, and that Dreadnought will get out of there just fine. I just kind of looked at the available sources of AV, and it didn't look like there was enough to finish off the Dreadnought, but I missed one of those Devastator Marine Squads. Anyway, meanwhile, this Devastator Marine Squad has marked target on it. It is shooting out. It is shooting, but eventually it does need to retreat because the Techmarine does get in here, but Techmarine is being stunned by that full auto ability from the Apothecary. Eventually he gets knocked over as well, so our melee Techmarine kind of struggling to make things happen. He finally gets in range of the Devastator Marine Squad, but I think he's going to go down for it. And this is going to be the Dreadnought moving in. It might have bought just enough time for that Dreadnought, and it did. I just don't know if it was worth it. He's going to need that revive. So where is Mostafa? You know, it shouldn't be too hard to get a revive, actually, especially with Mostafa having the Vestments of the Warp. He can get around the map a little bit more. And now it's a 2-to-1 back in favor of the red team when they've already got a pretty significant victory point lead.
The enemy is claiming a victory point.
Going to be Kickin trying to move in for another generator bash. Lucidic finally able to go to tier 3. He's got double Devastators. He's going to try to move back out here. And I was wondering if he was going to be able to stop that before that generator bash was finished. But we're not seeing Kickin commit to that. Instead, he's going to move off his... They're called Tactical Marines, as well as one squad of Stern Guard veterans. Meanwhile, on this side, a squad of heretics will find them all by themselves. Now, again, we're seeing Lucidic is really just being ride or die with that Thunderhammer, and especially if he does activate the special attack, it'll be highly, highly effective against the heretics. Another thing that's going to be highly effective against the heretics is using 6 units against them. So, going to be pretty obvious retreat there. Havoc's out of position, not setting up. Force Commander has a teleporter pack anyway, and we've got an Assault Marine squad. So I don't see what those Havocs are going to do. And it looks like this is now going to be a generator bash for Lucidic. He's going to get one for the blue team rather. And actually, I didn't realize also that Lindonin had put down a lot of generator bashes down here, so finally going to be generator bashes on return. But here's the flank by Mostafa. Mostafa potentially doing some friendly fire damage, but Melt-A-Bomb does go in on the Chaos Dreadnought. I think it's got to be something like if the Terminators have their teleport. Okay, I was going to say they might want to teleport in and tie up the Tactical Marines. Actually, probably wasn't completely necessary. I think the Tactical Marines only could have gotten one more missile off, and one more missile would not have killed the Dreadnought. In fact, I don't even think 2 more missiles would have, if my memory is correct, but I'm not 100% sure on that one as much. We got Devastators with advanced targeting, can do some light AV damage, but it also means that there's not going to be much to stop that Dreadnought from just straight up walking in. Librarian's going to be by himself here, and it does just decide to retreat real quickly before he finds himself getting force meleeed by 8 Tactical Marines, getting hit with some damage over time rounds in retreat. Does not want any of that to happen. Meanwhile, we are going to see some bloodletters coming out of the warp. That is going to be from the Sorcerer Global, not a bloodletter squad. But I think with these Thunderhammer Terminators there, it is going to be the end of the Chaos Dreadnought. Thunderhammer Terminators, I think they were even buffed by the Forther Emperor Global from the Force Commander. Meanwhile, we are going to see Chaos Space Marines for Mostafa finally going for the Mark of Tzeentch. And, of course, Mark of Tzeentch could have been effective even long before now, since they would have done a ton of damage to both the Assault Marines as well as the Tactical Marines. But he particularly wants them for the Terminators, since those Chaos Space Marines with their starting bolters would do pretty poor damage against the Terminators, since super heavy infantry armor has such a strong damage resistance to the piercing damage of many weapons, especially from those from Tier 1 range squads. So the Inferno damage, and then even more so the plasma damage of the Aspiring Champion's plasma gun, are going to melt those Terminators quite a bit faster. And those Terminators actually, they're up against the Sorcerer, so they do need to be very careful. At least, well, they're not up against the Sorcerer right now because the Sorcerer is dead, except no, he's not. He's been revived. Sorcerer being a hero who does have a lot of strong counterplay to Terminators. Now, the thing, though, is we don't see Mostafa with many of the war gears that are especially strong against Terminators. But he can always just choose to invest in them, since, again, they would be extremely, extremely strong against Terminators. Would also be pretty good against the Assault Marines as well. So I'm talking about the, on the one hand, there is the Robes of Torment, and then, of course, the Tome of Subjugation. Anyway, engagement's going to happen right here. Assault Marines kind of in trouble. I think that was a... This is actually what's in even more trouble is going to be that Dreadnought up being shot at by 2 last cannon Devastators, except one of those Devastators is not targeting the Dreadnought. One more shot goes in. If it can wind up another one, especially with this Dreadnought not moving, that's the end of the Dreadnought. So on this side, we are going to have, I think that's, oh my god, the Librarian's in so much trouble. He was knocked down, except he gets a heal, and he gets the Angels of Death global ability. That was actually a pretty impressive save from Lindonin, because once I saw him get knocked over by that Blastmaster shot from the Blastmaster Noise Marines, I thought for sure he was going to go down in retreat. And I got to say, I think against most players, he would have gone down in retreat. Speaking of going down in retreat, that is the end of that Devastator Marine squad. Oh, Tac Squad. I think Tac Squad needs to retreat. Oh no, that might go down. Wow, look at that. Look at that combination of that marked target as well as the power melee weapons coming out of this Vanguard veteran squad. Like, it still had a pretty sizable chunk of health left, but this Vanguard veteran squad just ripped through it. Vanguard veterans inside, they're going to retreat. Don't want to bleed too many more models. Shotgun scouts from Lindonin will get detected by the scouts from Kickin. Assault Marine's going to jump in. They're going to go on top of the scouts. They could eventually get blasted, just like that. And this is actually not good for them. Yeah, I didn't actually like that jump very much at all. I think they should have actually just jumped on the Tactical Marines, stopped them from doing most of their damage. We also got one of those models being stunned by the... No, actually, sorry, it is one of those Tactical Marine models that's being stunned by that full auto ability from the Apothecary. And the Librarian going to throw in a Smite as well. The combination of the Librarian... Oh, what's this going to be? Is this going to be a Venerable Dreadnought? No, just kidding. That's not available to Lindonin. Oh no, the Librarian not able to save the Librarian that time. Oh my god. That marked target ability, it has always been good. Increases the damage taken by a targeted unit by 40%. Anyway, Terminators, meanwhile, are going to be ripping those scouts apart real quick, but doesn't actually... Okay, finally does take out a model in retreat. Oh, man. Lindonin, the blue team is so low on victory points that these Terminators have to commit to the cap instead of the fight. Finally, though, here's some support with those Assault Marines. Oh, And They Shall Know No Fear has been activated by the Tactical Marines, so they actually knock down. They're knocking down the Assault Marines. They're winning in melee against the Assault Marines because of that ability. A unique ability that the Tactical Marines have. Man, they cleaned house. It's actually going to be a wipe on the Assault Marines. What a play there. That was pretty well done. So, and They Shall Know No Fear, it's an ability for the Tactical Marines. You only have it if you have a Tactical Marine Sergeant. It reduces the damage they take and actually causes them to do knockback when fighting in melee. One of the strange things about that ability, I think it is the only ability in the game that you can only use it after charging it. Of course, most other abilities in this game simply work by either having a cooldown or by having a cooldown and using... Well, when I say a cooldown, I mean a timed cooldown. A timed cooldown and of course, using energy. So that ability from those Tactical Marines is going to be a little bit different. Charged, although I'm blanking out a little bit whether it's by doing damage, taking damage, or both. Basically, to encourage the use of that ability is basically encouraged by fighting with the Tactical Marines. Okay, Vanguard and Veteran is going to jump in again. Mark Target is on the Terminators. We've seen how quickly Mark Target just rips squads apart, but you know what? I think that's actually going to be the end of the game. Some crazy things happening, and man, if anything, I wish this game would have just kept going. There's great things happening, but it is going to be a triple cap and the victory for our red team. And that'll be it for tonight. If anything, tonight feels like a short night with not doing a full faction war. I hope you enjoyed it nevertheless. Have a good night.